The numbers don't lie. XSK putting in that work. We got to change it from an X to at least a K. You know what I'm saying? Like 1,000 skill. You got to start somewhere, right? And I'm just glad I didn't wear glasses because people now are in the streets going to be like, hey, man, congrats on your win in CPT. you know, I got to say, Mikey, by the way, thank you for doing this because now people are going to approach me and be like, hey, man, I saw your run over on CPT. Good job, buddy. So,
but see, I mean, if you're interviewing him, it's going to prove that you're not the same guy, right? So
yes, I'm
there
going to be
you
in two
go.
places at once. Speaking of interview, I do believe we should have XSK coming in. There he is. All right. We didn't even get a word. Yo, Mikey! My man, I'm going to fall off this chair. I'm so excited to not only see all of your hard work pay off until this point, but the story that you've told, the story that was presented for you from 2021 up until this point, I bet you're way more excited than I am. So I gotta shut my face. I gotta ask you, I hate asking this question, but it needs to be asked. How are you feeling right now competing and being in Capcom Cup now, defeating your demon and making that amazing reset happen?
Honestly, I feel really good because my mind's... You guys can hear me, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. My mindset changed a lot from last year. And I just really wanted to focus on playing in the moment. And I was really happy that I was able to do that today. So,
can you emphasize that just a little bit? When you were talking about changing your mindset, what exactly was that transition from last year to this year?
So a lot of it was like comparing yourself to others and just not being in the moment, focusing on the future or your past results. When in fact, you know, the best thing you could do is just play what you have right in front of you, do what you can do today, not yesterday, not tomorrow, and just play it out and just do your best. Today might not be your best, but that's all you have. So.
Dang. I mean, look, obviously I had mentioned before we went on break, you know, I talked about how you are very known as a kind of stoic, very calm kind of, you know, just always have it together. But I mean,
did you see him outside of the game? This guy's a joker.
Did you let out at least like a single tear? Did you just like do at least a fist pump when you won?
The Tiger Woods? For sure, he's got the Tiger Woods down pat.
Right.
He's like, yes, I've seen it.
I was like, yeah.
Oh man, but I mean, again, look. Speaking of, you know, that stoicism and stuff like that, talk to me about that nephew comeback. So one, he comes in with this Luke all of a sudden, blows you up for one game. I mean, that was not a good game for you right there. But then it looked like you had it in the books. He made the most ridiculous comeback. How did you keep yourself composed in that situation?
Well, I knew that my practice with CCH was going to pay off. So I just focused like, okay, I'm just getting hit low a lot. If I just take that out of the equation, he doesn't have any other openers, and I just focus on like my practice and what I did with what I practiced with CCH essentially.
And I'm glad you brought up that point as well. Let's talk about your change up in the match from the loser side. I think it was round 2 when you had to face off against Mortzy. What went on through your mind in regards to that matchup in particular, using Akuma, and why you didn't want to face it off as Luke?
Well, I haven't practiced against not Mortzy, but Fang much often with Luke. So I just thought, I know Mortzy hates Akuma, I think.
I knew it. Like that's the only reason why I'm like, there's no shot. Like Luke shouldn't be doing that poorly in this matchup, but at the same time, it's like I think it's a match of familiarity thing. I think we talked about that on the broadcast. I'm like, there's no other shot, like no other reason why Mikey or XSK would be doing that, right? So I'm glad you said that because we were thinking the exact same thing. It had to be like a familiarity issue.
Yeah, and so let me ask you this. So obviously, the last 2 years, you know, weren't able to take NA West here, and this being the final year for Street Fighter V, and having only one shot for NA West this year, right? I mean, I like, how does that feel knowing that you are now officially a Capcom Cup, you know, qualifier, that you will be playing for the big one at the end of this season?
It feels really good because my confidence wasn't that high at the beginning of this year, especially with the changes to a lot of characters. Akuma wasn't very strong, still isn't really strong. Ryu was fine, but Luke obviously is obviously the best character in the game. So I figured I gotta play, like, essentially fighting games aren't really about, you know, character specialist at the highest level, you got to just pick the top tiers. You really have to. You just really have to.
But look, I mean, Ryu and Kage got buffed pretty well, right? Any thoughts of going with them, or is it just Luke is Luke?
I thought about picking Ryu against Rose, but I just felt like I just felt really confident in my practice with Luke. I just felt like, you know, I just felt really confident. I don't know how to explain it.
I mean, that's fair enough, man. Confidence is confidence, and that's pretty key to every single game that you have to play, right? As long as you believe in yourself and being able to carry that consistently. I know you're talking about you not having that kind of confidence in you at the beginning of the year, or at least the start of this year, because of the character changes and whatnot. But the fact that you still carry yourself so well and are able to execute the plan accordingly speaks volumes on your gameplay and your overall the discipline. When we talk about you in any sort of forum or any sort of like broadcast, etc., it's always the key thing. It's like XSK has some of the best discipline in the FGC.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even just shine in like Street Fighter 5, but like in general, man. I mean, like in terms of like any game that you've played, I've seen that kind of discipline, and just the mentality of it is something that needs to be really highlighted. Not just like the gameplay, but that aspect, the psychology behind it, just takes you so far, and it speaks volumes. Because look, you're the first person to make it into Capcom Cup this year. That's a big deal. This is something that everybody dreams of going to, right, as a competitor, and you've done that by staying consistent and at least finding the moments where you've messed up, finding the moments, like some of the cons in your gameplay, and turn them into pros now. So
yeah, is it going to be big chillin' at this point in time now for you?
Well, honestly, I did a lot of practice going up to this event, and I really appreciate everyone that practiced with me, because without them, I wouldn't be here, obviously. And I think now that I qualified, I think I will keep practicing harder and strive for, I guess, the best I can do for the cup.
Great, because we would love to add you into a 5v5 just in case we have to face off against Midwest. I don't even know who's on the team yet exactly.
I was just about to ask that, actually. I mean, you don't have to answer the question, right? You don't have to answer the question, but I don't think you're on the West Coast 5v5. Are you? Or
I haven't decided yet, so.
Okay. The offer has been extended. At least that's what I wanted to know, whether or not that was going to be a thing. So.
Regardless of whether you're on the team now, I want to hear your thoughts on the West Coast state of Street Fighter. Do you feel like we are as strong, or I should say you guys are as strong? I'm not putting myself in there. You guys are as strong, you know, as anybody else in the country.
Honestly, I'm kind of tired of hearing the West Coast versus the East Coast or Midwest. I think it's time to focus on like uniting us, saying, you know, the US is very strong, because I don't think they're really doing that much too often in other regions. And they're working together and collaborating and improving. And I think that's what we need to do a little bit more. I did it a lot for this event, and I'm really thankful that I did, because like I said, I wouldn't have qualified without practicing with all those guys. I had to build my confidence up with all those practices that I did with them. And everybody's ridiculous, man. Like Nephew's ridiculous, Chrissy H was ridiculous, JB's ridiculous. Like everybody in top 8 is like ridiculous. We can definitely beat a lot of players. East Coast, Midwest, same thing. They have ridiculous players. The US is really, really good. Just we're so separated in mindset and working together. I'm not really sure why. Maybe it's a US thing.
I'm starting to think that as well. I mean, we've talked about that off camera or outside of events in general, how the EU has pretty much got it together, and Japan has never really had that talk. You've never really heard, oh, Osaka's way better than Tokyo. I've never, ever heard that. It was always just Japan is dominant, and for a very good reason, right? They've had that unification for so long, and I think you're on the right track, to be honest with you. And with that in mind, I got to ask you, before we even get to round everything off, I would love to hear your thoughts going forward, or even like any sort of shout out you would like to give to any competitors in the future, or even to your family that have been pretty much supporting you the entire time. Any final thoughts or any final words for you before we wrap this up?
Yeah, so my family called me right before this interview. I said, guys, I love you so much, but I have to do an interview. Then I hung up really fast. And shout out to my family, my friends who are watching, people who practice with me, my supporters, just everybody, man. Like you guys at Capcom, making a show like this for us to compete and show our skills, show our practice. It's really much appreciated. I know it's only one event, but I look forward to more things in the future.
That's what I'm talking about. I definitely am too, with all the regions in total, right? I just want to see everybody really come together for this final year of Street Fighter V and make it a big send-off. And we've done so right now, especially with your performance. It was something that was quite the spectacle. I didn't expect it to be this crazy to start things off. I kind of did, but I kind of didn't. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can never be too sure when it comes to these qualifiers. Brian F. said it the best earlier on Twitter. He's like, if you predicted this NA West bracket, you are lying. You are absolutely lying. The way that this played out, and again, it's just been full of surprises, and we appreciate you for being a huge part of that.
Absolutely. And only thing I have left to say is congratulations, great job. We've been seeing you, fight for the last couple of years, and to have it pay off here, I think is fantastic. Congratulations, great job.
Thanks for the loot color, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it, XSK. Ladies and gentlemen, our first candidate from NA West making it into Capcom Cup.